educator Sulagna Ghatak. Today I want to brief you about the topic taxonomy. So first of all, taxonomy is a branch of biology that deals with the science of naming, describing and classifying organisms. That means plants, animals and microorganisms. So who started the classification and naming? It was Aristotle, who was the first person tried to name and classify things based on the structural similarities. So when Aristotle was trying to identify such things in nature, he saw that there are certain structures like plants or animals who share similarities in their structures. So he described more or less 520 species of animals, especially around Greece, and believed that when you call the thing by its correct name, you do proper justice to it. That means you are conveying the meaning or proper essence of that particular thing in a most appropriate manner, isn't it? So, for an efficient communication, you need to call the things by its right names. Later, Carolus Linnaeus, who was a Swedish botanist, also he was the father of taxonomy, developed and published the first comprehensive and consistent classification system for both plants and animals. Taxis, that means arrangement, and monos, that means law, was first proposed by D. Candolle. He said taxonomy is the theory and practice of classifying organisms. Nextly, to understand taxonomy, we have to know about the term systematics. Systematics is the scientific study of kinds and diversity of organisms and also of many or all relationships among them. Or we can say that it is the science of the diversity of organisms that deals with population, species and higher taxa. Okay? So now the binomial classification. So what did Linnaeus design? He said that we can do a binomial classification. Here, binomial refers to two. That means a classification system which have just two names. First of all, he emphasized the morphological characteristics as the basis of arranging specimens in a collection. So, all the important common characteristics which these organisms are sharing, those can be pulled up together and can be given a common name. Secondly, each species is given a unique name. While some species can have hundreds of common names, but each has only one binomial name. So, when you have to convey the name to a person who is far away from you, then you can't use the common name, right, of any animal or plant. Because the common name are local, they are used only for a specific area. So then you have to use a binomial name. That means a standard name which is known to everyone, which will reflect the correct identity of that organism, isn't it? So thirdly, each unique name is a binomial name, consists one genus and one species according to the Linnaeus. Though in earlier, during Aristotle's time, any species name consisted of up to 10 to 12 words. Okay? Now, the binomial nomenclature. Every recognized species on Earth, at least in theory, has given a two parts scientific name. This standardized system is called binomial nomenclature. These names are important because they allow people throughout the world to communicate unambiguously about animal species. The two terms consist of a generic epithet, which is genus or category of that species, and specific epithet, which indicates the species itself. In botanical nomenclature, author citation refers to citing the person or group of people who validly published a botanical name. That means who first published the name while fulfilling the formal requirements as specified by the International Code of Nomenclature or ICN for algae, fungi and plants. In cases where a species is no longer in its original generic placement, that means a new combination of genus and species epithet. Both the authors of the original genus placement and those of the new combination are given. That means who was the former in parentness, right? So, it can happen that when you are studying a plant and you have identified certain characteristics which you have put it into a specific genus, but if later you identify that no, something is wrong over there, then you make a new combination of genus and specific epithet. That means you call the species with a different name or epithet, right? Now, in this case, both the authors of the original genus placement and those of the new combination. So, how do you represent it? We represent it by the former author in bracket and the recent author comes outside of the bracket. Clear? So, in binomial nomenclature, tautonym is a taxonomic binomial in which the generic name and specific epithet are alike. Such names are allowed only in zoology but not in botany, where the two parts of the name of a species must differ, though differences as well as one letter, which is also permitted, as seen in the Jojoba. That means Ziziphus. So here in this scientific name, we can see there is only difference in one letter between genus and species, right? That means in I and Y. Binomial nomenclature helped in various ways, like clarification. Which plant had a unique name and that was specific to that plant. Secondly, universal. Everyone throughout the world used the same name to identify that specific organism. Thirdly, education. Plant names were easier to remember and to learn. Fourth of all, classification. Plants were more easily identified and the categories were easier to understand. So these are the importance and relevance of binomial nomenclature. Clear? Now the rules for writing binomial nomenclature. So there are some rules which are always followed, which are mainly help you when you are writing a research paper as well. So the rules are, first of all, the name of the genus always begins with a capital letter. Secondly, the species name begins with a small letter. Thirdly, the scientific name are always italicized. And fourth of all, when handwritten, the genus name and species name have to be underlined. Clear? Now, the trinomial nomenclature. It was first given by Lamarck. As International Code for Zoological Nomenclature or ICZN, in zoological literature, it consists of three words: genus, species, and subspecies, like Corvus splendens, which is the scientific name of Indian crow. And as International Code for Botanical Nomenclature or ICBN, in botanical literature, it consists of three words: genus, species, and variety, like Brassica oleracea capitata, which is the scientific name of cabbage. So, this nomenclature gave the name for subspecies. Actually, some species, due to their different habit and habitat, showed certain minor varieties. This causes the development of subspecies. Right. Now, the importance of taxonomy. Taxonomy is the science of classifying organisms on the basis of all meaningful studies on biodiversity, pest management, medicine, bioprospecting. That means the search for plants and animal species from which medical drugs and other commercially valuable compounds can be obtained and quarantined. Secondly, before initiating any kind of studies, it is absolutely essential to know the correct scientific name of the organism on which the studies are initiated. The correct name of the organism is a functional label using which various pieces of information concerning that organism, including all past work done on it, can be retrieved and stored. Taxonomy plays an important role in pest management. So, when natural enemies are being shot or transmitted from one region to another in biological control projects, then the correct identification of both the pest and the natural enemy species is of great importance. Right. So, without the help of taxonomic, biological control workers may commit several mistakes. Like, first of all, they may inadvertently import a species of natural enemy that may be already present in the country of introduction. Secondly, they may spend several days studying in the biology of a species that may have already been done under a unpublished or published synonym of the species. Thirdly, the biological control workers may spend a lot of money and effort in shipping, curation, breeding, etc. of wrong species of natural enemies, such as hyperparasites or natural enemies that do not attack target host species, etc. So, quarantine agencies often seek help of taxonomics to determine whether an imported plant or animal is harmful or not, and based on the advice of taxonomic, it helps to prevent the entry of harmful organisms. Clear? Now, the levels of taxonomy. Taxonomy aims at fulfilling three main levels or objectives. First of all, the alpha taxonomy, which is the first objective. This taxonomy aims at classifying organisms into a taxa on the basis of similarities in phenotypic characteristics. That means the characteristics which are expressed in an organism and can be examined visually or can be tested by other means. As we know, each phenotypic characteristics is controlled by one or a group of genes, that means two individuals which possesses similar phenotypic characteristics must have similar genes, right? But there are also some exceptions like convergence evolution, in which wings of bats and wings of butterfly both are wings phenotypically, right? But genotypically there are many differences between them. So large number of similar phenotypic characteristics therefore reveals a genetic closeness between organisms. Secondly, beta taxonomy, which is the second objective. Assigning a name of each taxon, which is called nomenclature, is necessary for identifying it without confusion throughout the scientific name. Clear? And the third and last objective is the gamma taxonomy. This taxonomy is to serve as an instrument for identification of novel organism. A newly isolated organism or a novel organism can be assorted to its nearest alleles or can be identified as a new unknown taxon. This makes taxonomy a dynamic branch of biology because diversity of new organisms consistently demands changes in the existing classification. Clear? Now, there are several nomenclature types. A type is always a zoological object, never a name. Types are usually physical specimens that are kept in museums or herbarium research collection. So, the types of nomenclature are, first of all, holotype. It is the one specimen upon which a name is based. Secondly, isotype. It is the duplicate of holotype collected by same person at the same time from the same population. And allotype, specimen of the opposite sex as the holotype which has been used in the description. Often used to demonstrate morphological characteristics not seen in the holotype. Fourthly, syntype. Any of the specimen quoted by discovered where there is no holotype. Nextly, isosyntype. It is the duplicate of the syntype. Paratype, a specimen described along with holotype. Lactotype, specimen taken from the original collection for nomenclature in the absence of holotype. Number 8 is paralactotype. It is the type of specimen remaining after a lactotype is designed. 9 is neotype. When original has been lost or destroyed, then one of the specimen selected to serve as single type specimen. Next, the topotype. A specimen of a plant collected from the same locality as the holotype and usually on the different date. Nextly, cotype, a term formerly used for syntype and sometimes for isotype and paratype. And lastly is the genotype. It is the type specimen of a genus. So, hope your concept about this topic have been cleared after this session. There has provided a link of e-quiz into the description box so you can score and test yourself by those questions. And if you have any doubt or facing any problem during solving the e-quiz, then after scoring, please ask me into the comment section, and also you can reach to us through our mail ID which is into the description box. I am so much happy to say that in previous lesson I have got your lots of responses and doubts through mail. So don't miss the chance to get a healthy score. Lastly, thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Then you can get notification about my next videos which is coming on every Sunday. Stay safe, stay tuned. Bye.